Do you ever feel that way now, like given that my depression's really bad and there are a lot of days where I feel suicidal?
Definitely.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That kills me. Because like my biggest thing is like I don't want to be a burden.
It's not a burden though. You're someone I love. I want to do it.
Yeah.
It's only a burden if I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
What's one experience you wish I never had?
I hate to say it like this. There's actually quite a few.
Yeah.
Why am I tearing up? Because these aren't my experiences, but I wish a lot of adults were kinder to you as a child. You sound like a really sweet kid. And I'm so sorry that they weren't kinder to you. I wish you didn't have to question your existence. I still worry about whether or not you will go to that dark place again. That's why I am a little like hard on you when you get hard on yourself, because honey, I need you here. And I don't want you to do anything. And I know with mental health, it can just really go down that spiral. And so I have to really check myself sometimes, because when you tell me these stories, I want to be the Herculean whatever and build a time machine and go back to these people and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? She's a child.
Yeah.
She's a child, you know. And I wish I was there in your darkest moment to tell you belong. You belong. You can take up space. You're entitled to joy, you know. And I see how you still struggle in general, especially how people treated you as a child. And I see how you've grown so much in the past 3 years. I've seen how much you're such an advocate for these issues. Even if you don't know exactly how to like plant your feet on the ground every single day, you still do it. You still get up, you know?
What scares you the most these days that I may not be aware of?
I think you're aware of my biggest fears. And we talk about it often. And I can't think of anything scarier than that.
I think mine is the same thing. I know you're cautious to talk about it because it's my story, but like I am absolutely terrified of losing my fight to depression, and you know that I'm scared of that too. And that's why I talk about it so openly with you. And I'm glad that I can finally do that and not feel I don't feel like you're trying to fix me anymore. You're just there for me. Because I think, like, at this point, there's not really a whole lot that the people in my life can do other than just be there. Because I want to live, I want to thrive, I want to love living life. And I think you know how badly I want that and how I fight for that. And I'm scared of dying and people thinking that I didn't fight for my life. Because I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to die. But I'm scared that that would be the way and that people would assume that I was dying a selfish death.
Right.
And I love y'all so much.
Love you too.
What are you hesitant to tell me?
I guess one thing is I don't think I like share with you as much as I should, like when I'm like sad. I don't know. I feel like I've been really like depressed and just, I don't know. I like just don't want like people to like be worried. Yeah, and I don't know. I just like I feel like I act a lot happier than like I am the majority of the time, and I just like I don't know. It would be nice if like I know that I can talk to you about it, but it's just like this feeling of like I don't want to like talk about it, but I want to at the same time.
When did we misunderstand each other most, and how did we overcome it?
Misunderstand each other the most. When you started transitioning, I think when you told me that, when you were starting to step into and walk into your queerness, it's probably when we misunderstood each other the most. That was life-changing for me. Not only just the death of your father, but you saying to me, I'm not gonna say you're not normal, because you are normal. But I'm not the woman that you think I am, or I'm not this feminine this feminine person that you think that I am. I'm not that. So I would say that would probably be for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would agree. I think I think my queer identity, like my perspective on social issues, like as I evolved, I think that became, like I just knew you didn't get it. But I think the one thing I'll say is like also mental health. Like I think the first time was actually in 8th grade when I like.
Oh yeah.
I think that like there were so many cries for help that I was like trying to say at like 13 and 14. And like that just was not in our narrative, right? Like mental health and like depression and all of these things, like they were seen as like there's something wrong with you, like you're crazy, right? Like that's even ableist language to use, but that's how I felt. And I think that was actually the first time that I felt misunderstood, which is like I think why I began to internalize so much more things that I knew about myself, because that first incident where I like obviously tried to commit suicide, like I now know that you tried to advocate for me and you weren't able to get the resources that we needed at the time, but I actually didn't know that until like 2 weeks ago. You never told me. So in my whole life I've just thought like these people did not care about the fact that I tried to take my own life, So I would say that's the other place that I feel like you've misunderstood me. But I think as I've grown as an adult, I recognize the disparities around mental health generationally. And I recognize how that is not like something that like we grew up with in our culture, was to like understand that like it's okay to struggle. and like there are literal chemical imbalances. There are so many other interferences that are happening.
Right.
And even adding on to that, just this idea of like what it means to have been a high achieving child in a white space. Like, baby, I've been probably dealing with mental health issues since I was 7 and just didn't know it, right? Because like in many ways, like I was tokenized.
How are we most similar, and how does that scare you?
I think one way in which we're similar that you don't realize as much is that we both let anxieties control our lives, anxieties and fears. And for you, it's much more apparent because you have very visible anxiety that's like, I can't do it, what am I going to do? Whereas for me, it's much more like subtle, and I may not talk about it or say anything. But like, for example, the college submitting the test scores thing, that was like, when I realized that I had missed the deadline, inside I freaked out and I was super anxious, like, oh my God, what is mom going to say? What are you going to say? Am I going to not get into colleges? I just shouldn't say anything, and I just won't get into those schools. It's fine. And if she won't find out. But then when I told you, you told her anyway. And then she was mad at me for not asking her for help.
Right.
Not the fact that I messed up, but the fact that I didn't ask for help.
Yeah.
And I still live that way a lot of the times. Like my laziness with a lot of things, where I put things off to the last minute, that's a lot of times because I'm scared of failing. And I'm scared of doing a bad job or messing up.
Right.
And that dictates a lot of the way that I live, even though it doesn't appear to be fear-based or anxiety-based. And it scares me a little bit because you struggle a lot with anxiety. Like, I can clearly see it is very debilitating for you, and it has been for your whole life. And so for me, it's something that I need to be better at because it controls too much of my life too.
What are you has to ask me?
What am I hesitant to ask you? I'm hesitant to ask you about
Money.
no, about when you were younger and you tried to take your own life. I want to know, but it's a hard question for me to ask you.
What are you hesitant to tell me? Like, when you have to tell me, like, what things are you hesitant to tell me?
Anything that's a trigger for you, for your anxiety and OCD stuff, like anything that have to do with like problems with the house. Like, I totally will keep it from you unless you know about it when you first find out about it. When I do, I can't control it, but I will not let you know about a problem until I have taken it in, got my head around it, and have a resolve planned. Then I bring you in. Because, as you know, the way you are with those things, I have to manage the issue and you, and I can't do that. It's stress. Plus now so I'm managing 3 things. So I try to like hear about the problem, get a resolve, then tell you about it, which happens usually within hours. It's not like anything goes on.
So is that like, do you resent like do you like get resentful for that's like another burden in this relationship?
I've been resentful. I have. Because you're working on it. I appreciate it, and I know it's not going to always. I hope it's not going to always be that way. But it's been a lot on me. So.
Were you going to leave me?
No. Obviously not.